This is TQA Weekly. I'm your host, Steve Smith, aka Z-Axis, and I'm going to be explaining today how come your browser is slowing down. This is TQA Weekly. For those who don't know what that means, that's technology. Questions answered, and I'm going to answer one very important question. How do I speed up my internet browsing experience so that I get exactly what I am expecting out of the internet? And to do this, I will compare it to your bedroom. I don't know what your bedroom looks like, but we're just going to guesstimate. So, when you install a brand new browser into your computer, it is very much like moving into your apartment. Your bedroom is empty, so virtually easy to get anything in. Traffic is fluid, there is nothing stalling behind, but you may notice after a while putting boxes in and putting your bed in and all the furniture that the traffic starts being slowed down. Traffic patterns become restricted and it gets harder and harder to get things inside. The more clothing's on the floor, the more stuff lying around, the harder it is to move inside the room, and the more dangerous it can be. This is the same thing for web browsers. Web browsers need to have a clean environment in order to load web pages the fastest possible way. Now, of course, let's get one thing out of the way. Using Internet Explorer today, while Microsoft still uses ActiveX inside to update the computer, means that it is too dangerous to use and you should literally just forget it exists and not use it anymore. Which will basically leave you with three options, which are all HTML5 capable. So for all those on Windows XP, you might as well migrate to these. You've got Firefox, which is the most popular browser visiting my website. Second by Chrome, and then third by Safari. Yes, I actually said it. Internet Explorer falls last place behind a no-name. Whatever. So, what does Firefox, Chrome, and possibly Safari have all in common besides HTML5? Well, better code, lighter code. How about don't accept ActiveX? So, ActiveX in the time was a plugin much like Flash, but that had way too many security permissions, and at the time we didn't know sandboxing was important. For all those that want to maintain a computer that is infection-free and want to go to all these strange websites, don't use Internet Explorer, period. You might as well use something like Google Chrome or Firefox. Now, what is it about, let's say, Google Chrome and Firefox that is special? Well, you can install add-ons. Now, I'm not talking about toolbars, which you really don't need. Don't install those. They actually do slow down your internet experience. Just telling you. Don't install those. You don't need a Google search bar when Google's already a search option in the search section of all browsers. And in Google Chrome, you just need to type in the address bar of your search and it will search in Google anyway. Getting back to my point, don't install toolbars. Google Chrome and Firefox allow you to install plugins. Now, plugin is a side-loaded application capable of connecting to the internet in order to achieve a function. The more plugins you put inside these browsers, included Safari, slower your session will be. The easiest way to maintain a fast connection is to reduce the amount of plugins currently running in memory. So if you're one of those that is a plugin whore, that has 120 plugins, try uninstalling at least the ones you don't actively use at all, which means you don't turn them on, but they're still running in memory. For every application that connects to the internet that takes space in the memory that is no longer running in the browser, the faster the connection. Because each of these plugins is an add-on into the bandwidth connecting through your internet connection, slowing you down. The faster you want your internet to run, the lower the count of plugins you should have. Now, of course, if we're going to go and start bitching about the number of plugins, we might as well start bitching about the size of the core code. Most notably, currently, the problem would be Firefox. Depending on how many plugins and how many windows you currently have in tabs open, can exponentially load into memory into the gigs of RAM usage, which is not necessarily a good idea. So if you're finding yourself slowing down because the browser's slowing down your computer, that is another potential issue that does not give you the best possible internet experience. So what else can you do? Well, you've got two other choices, which, as I have already said to other people, you might as well try them out. You might fall in love with a different browser because you're not using a different browser because you necessarily want to. You just wanted to stay away from Internet Explorer. You heard Firefox is cool. Now I'm telling you, go Google Chrome, go to Safari. They're not that big anyway. And they run just about everything that Firefox can. They're lighter in memory, they run HTML5, they can run Flash, and Google has its own Flash in Chrome, and everything is sandboxed inside it. Safari is great because it's got your privacy set first. By default, no third-party cookies are installed inside your computer. Go and look on the other side of the fence where the grass is definitely greener and try those out. Bearing in mind, these are also capable of having plugins, and the more plugins installed, the slower your internet connection is going to be. There are plugins that do actually work in your favor. Now, I've talked about Ghostery before. For those who haven't seen my Ghostery episode, you might as well go back and watch it, but the gist of it is that it detects any third-party tracker. I would say about 99% because there's actually one it didn't spot on my website that I can distinctly remember installing and has to do with my server. It allows me to actually find out which browser you're using, which helps me program it, by the way. It allows us to figure out what's running and even deactivate them selectively or just completely, which means all the advertisements can be deactivated. No cookies being installed, nothing going in. That's speeding up your internet connection. If you're not downloading things from different third-party websites, that literally means that your website that you're currently trying to load loads faster. You got two other pieces of software. No Script for Firefox, and ScriptNo I believe does Chrome and maybe another one. No Script and ScriptNo do something very cool called turning scripting off. Now, it might not totally break my website, but it can break websites completely that rely on JavaScript to run. Why would I suggest this to you? Well, it's not just the download into the browser that costs a lot of time before it's actually shown on the screen. It's the fact that it has to take the code and render it on the screen. Now, since it's scripting and not programming that needs to be compiled, it still has to generate all of this into imagery on the fly, which means it takes longer. If you're not running the JavaScript code, you're not waiting for it to finish executing before rendering the result. That makes the page load faster. When you visit a website that you like, that is broken, both these applications allow you to allow scripting in that website. Combined with Ghostery allowing you to block the advertisements and all the other third-party crapware, you literally can control your whole internet experience, making it faster, slower, at the whim of a button. That if you want an absolutely magnificent connection to the internet, allowing you to get the best performance out of your computer, what you can do is not use Internet Explorer because it's not safe, period. Use either Firefox, which I suggest you don't because for the moment the core code is still too heavy. Use Chrome or Safari, which are actually lighter. Use plugins like Ghostery, ScriptNo, or NoScript, which I'll have all this information in links in my show notes. And this will allow you to have a better, faster, cleaner experience on the internet. Next week I'll be talking about how to insert images and anchors into HTML code, and on that wall where you see that letter, which you can't see the text of course, is the permission slip I needed to use an editor. I'm going to show you a really cool editor that you can use to create your own website, and he makes it really easy to use and program for the internet. So I'll start talking about that application and what you can do with it, and start talking next week about images and anchors. The week after that, by a special request of one of my viewers, I'll be taking another look into the terminal and several other looks into the terminal into the future. But in 2 weeks, I'll be looking at how to identify background processes in the terminal within Ubuntu, how to identify their IDs, and how to terminate background processes by their PID or process ID. So that is in 2 weeks. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to TQA Weekly for more information like our show notes, how to join our mailing lists, get your own TQA Weekly branded gear and apparel for our Android application. Please visit TQAweekly.com. We now feature an easier to use subscribe feature, just a big red subscribe button that brings you to a subscription page where you select what kind of subscription method you want, whether it be WMV, MP4, MP3, whether you use iTunes, FeedBurner, or you prefer to use Miro. I have that all included. My website has a search feature so you can search for the solution you're looking for. And at the very worst, if it is not there, ask at tqaweekly.com. That is my email. Email me your question. I will reply with as many answers as I can get. Stay safe and online.